of the presidents do you think was power or was leadership?
No. Welcome back to the ZED101. The ZED101. Le ZED101.
101.
Yes.
Hey!
Foi Tsungu Chak France.
Does Chisungu?
Tsungu Chak France.
Does Chisungu mean foreign? Because I used to think it meant English.
It's Tsungu. It's like saying Kubulaya. Kubulaya, you think Nico English.
So it's foreign. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Chisungu is not English.
Ah, yeah. It's
No,
like,
I think it's English. I think
it
you're
is
wrong.
English, but there's
You
a
are
general
wrong.
understanding that Kubulaya in a place.
No, so what if you spoke Senegalese? Not that I know what language they speak. What would that be?
To be Senegalese.
Atibalande chinshi, chitundunshi.
I don't know. We don't make reference to those people.
Singing.
Anyway, forget that.
Welcome.
Yes. You want to do the welcome today?
No, I don't.
Welcome to the ZED101 podcast with me, Chanda Mwiko, and
Moi, Tanya.
Vamaya.
Yeah.
Tanya Fuchs, my ride or die. Hi.
How's yeah?
Yeah, very, very good.
By the way, if the government comes for you, you're on your own.
How?
I won't save you.
Fishness.
Don't call me. No, if they come for you, don't call me.
I'll give them the example of the Garden of Eden.
Huh?
I'll just simply say it was the woman.
But they came for you because I sorted myself
They
out.
will come to me quite all right, but I'll say, yo, it was the woman. You are the one who gave me the woman. That's how Adam was trying to
I'll
defend
just be
himself.
like,
Remember?
I don't know him.
It's like, hey.
Chanta who? I don't know him.
On the ZED101 podcast, we discuss everything, all things. Toutes les choses zambiennes.
Toutes les choses.
Fion Sophie. Fiamo Zambia.
En Zambie.
It shall be something ranging from politics, right?
100. Probably more frequently politics.
Politics.
Yeah, I think we need to ease up a little bit on politics.
Oh, okay. Well,
After this topic, of course.
We just make it. Okay, we'll shoot. Yeah, that's all I
After this topic.
Politics, business, generally culture, entertainment, and we can't ignore what's trending in Zambia and around the world because we are part of this thing they call the global village.
Oh, I was thinking.
No,
I was thinking of elite. Me, I'm part of the global elite.
Global elite village. Are you happy?
No, the elite are the 1%.
Top 1%. Zambian version.
I wish Zambia's 1%.
Zambia's 1%.
I was going to say, that must be quite easy to be Zambia's 1%.
My friend. You're Zambia's 1%.
Are they even fully Zambian? Zambia's 1%.
Well, usually when you're doing good things, the alignment to being Zambian is,
Yes.
Yeah, Kufmiako. But yeah, today we are unpacking, as we always do, the realities of what's going on in our country. We're trying to talk about things that are shaping our nation.
What's hitting us? What's hitting us right now?
Yes, we spotlight the voices of concern. The ones that matter the most. Lelo, we would like to talk about leadership.
Okay.
Yeah, leadership in my language, Intungulushi.
Is she?
Intungulushi.
Intungulushi.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that word.
I think it's Intungulushi.
What is it? Okay, I don't know the word.
Leader.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll teach you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to talk about leadership.
What's the difference between that and like Bakateka? Why do we always say Bakateka instead of Intungulushi?
Yeah, Intungulushi is a general term.
No, I'm just asking, like
it's easier to
because I feel like the whole Bakateka is like a modern thing. Nobody used to say it before.
Oh, they used to use it. Wakateka is always...
Back in the day.
Well, Wakateka is always the president.
Okay.
Okay. Wakateka is the president.
I still don't think it was used regularly.
Okay. We shall argue or discuss that another time. We'll bring a historian.
Okay.
There's a gentleman called Dr. Eustace Chiputa. He is... he's really good. He knows history in the region, around the region, and the global thing.
That'd be good.
He's really, really good. He's a retired lecturer from the University of Zambia, but he's good. I'll reach out. Yeah, we'll just need to get a very good topic. Like he would break down the issue regarding what we're going to get into now.
Okay.
Where we are. You get it?
I get it.
Okay. So we're talking about leadership today, and a few notes that we wrote down. Tanya and I wrote down a few notes that I would like to read to you so that we're on the same page. Zambia faces a critical phase with leadership challenges. Obviously on multiple fronts, political parties and government level, whatever it is, we are at a crossroads. The opposition's fragmentation and the ruling party's underperformance create a complex, this is the word you didn't like, complex political environment.
It's not complex.
What should we replace it with?
Vacuum.
Okay, I'll read that again. The opposition's fragmentation and the ruling party's underperformance create a vacuum in the political environment. For meaningful progress, political leaders must prioritize unity, accountability, and service delivery, while citizens must become more discerning and engaged. Malama doesn't want that. If it's okay, leave him alone. Ngaliva prosecutes.
100.
No forgiveness. Nothing like, no, they've given us back. No. At the time we needed those resources and they were taken away from us, they deprived a lot of people of the benefits that were going to be accrued from those
100%.
resources. So, Takudifia forgiveness. You prosecute, you
I
jail.
forgive you while you're in jail. Once you've done your term, then I forgive you.
Exactly. So, strengthening democratic institutions and fostering a culture of transparency and inclusiveness are essential for Zambia's future stability and development. Agreed?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the focus we're trying to get to is, what is the vacuum?
Let's get into it. Shall we give examples? Because we're going to go step by step here.
So let's just emphasize, my issue
Yes.
is the essence of, I don't feel that we have strong or significant or standout leadership in Zambia.
Teacher.
You.
Teacher. Thank you. Thank you, madam. I think, in as much as I agree with you, I think the problem starts with understanding leadership. That's what I think.
So, tell me.
Do our people, the people we put in office, understand leadership?
The people put in office.
The people we empower. This is
Chanda,
just agreeing
Chanda,
to what you're saying.
The weakest man in his own home is a leader.
Yes.
Doesn't make him a good leader. Just because their party is in power does not make them a good leadership party to have in power.
You were saying, and I said, I interrupted you, sorry.
I just said what I said.
Is that what we're saying?
I said what I said.
I said what I said.
No.
What lips?
Don't worry.
It's a devil Tanya thing.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Anyways, in a nutshell, for identify leadership, because there are so many things that have happened in our country over the last 10 years, actually. Because if you look at how Zambia has been in general, we've had so many leaders at presidential level in a very short space of time.
100%.
Very short space of time. At one
Which
period,
is quite unusual
Yes.
for a nation.
we had Manawasa in 20-something. In one whole year, in one whole decade, we had two leaders.
A decade and a year are two different things.
No, I'm saying, decade. Let's go to decade.
Okay.
So we had Manawasa in 2006. He passed on 2000. I don't know. But in that period of 10 years, we had three leaders.
Okay.
Which was just too much for us to bear as a nation.
Yes.
The concentration has been on us looking at leadership.
Even step back. KK was 27 years.
Yes.
And then we went 27.
It was wild. So,
Who are these that we had?
So in order for us to
It's
demonstrate...
a new technical term.
The ba. I think going down like da. She should have been a
The
soldier.
Bemba version.
Oh, hell no. We always have a word for everything. We have words for everything. So in order to explain more, understand better the meaning, the reason why I want to talk about leadership, We want to start with the fact that over the so many years, the concentration by government leadership and the presidency has been about power, not about leading people to happiness, prosperity, and...
So just simplify. What's the difference between power and leadership?
You tell me.
Based-
What do you mean?
You're the one who said the words.
Yeah, I'm reading.
Yeah. I can't.
I am reading.
Okay. So power.
Amaka.
Power is something that you use over people.
In Zambia, to manipulate people.
The same thing, right? So you use over people to manipulate, to minimize, to reduce, to restrict, to hold back. You use power. And certain nations over the years have used power. Certain nations still continue to use power. I think it's the Thailand leader, for example. Brunei, that's right. So, but then leadership is where, my dear friend, one day, I swear when he comes, we have number one in the queue. Yeah? Traore. That is modern leadership in action. Where the man has power. He's got the military power and might behind him.
Yeah.
Yet he uses leadership to move the country forward.
Nothing like trying to glorify himself.
There is no glorification.
No self-aggrandizement.
He has put it in place. How does the country become a better place, right? Now we have the bullshit of Trump. Make America great again.
Okay.
And yet, what does he do? China, we're going to give you 20% tariffs. What? You don't like that? We're going to make it 50. What did they get to? 250 they got to. That's him displaying power, none of which went anywhere because it still went through Congress. He failed. The numbers have come down anyway. Trump never shows you afterwards the outcomes. But Trump is about power. Traore is about leadership. What other nations do you think have good leadership? What do you think of France?
Oh, hell no. France is snake in the grass. Bloody snake in the grass.
Okay.
France cannot be a nation that's under the bracket of leadership. No.
See, I liked the way Traore kicked out France as well. And that's the thing. You know, they tried to flex a little bit, and they have said that some of the assassination attempts on Traore have been by the French.
Yeah. I mean, you are the bloody ambassador, and they chase you, and you refuse to go.
Imagine.
So we don't want you in our country anymore. You want to refuse just because you're coming from France? Oh, hell no.
You know?
No. So a country like France, I'm sorry, is not in that bracket of a country
Good
that
leadership.
leadership. No.
So who is?
They manipulated and just ruled those people.
Well, okay, so let's go back to imperialism. Do the millennials, if you know what imperialism is, comment down below.
We always don't say comment down below.
Comment down below.
No, let's bring it back to the current times. Because to Allah,
No, but the point of imperialism is the flexing of power.
Oh, the mighty British Empire.
That's right.
Oh,
and the French and the Dutch.
And a little bit of the Portuguese.
And the Portuguese.
And the weak ass Spanish.
Oh gosh, they tried. Yeah.
But I do understand. You have small countries that are trying to take over other countries, like the way the Japanese were messing up the Chinese and the Koreans. That was all China all over the place, you know. But they had their moment in history, but now things have really, really changed. If you look at the imperial power structures, they were dominating. And if you look at the remnants of that structure that was there, it has become disastrous in modern times. Pakistan and India can't even hug.
Imagine.
They can't.
But
they speak the same language.
That hate has been around a long time.
Yeah, but it comes from that side.
I hear you.
This guy wakes up and decides we need to split these people, but won't tell them. They even bring a special guy from the United Kingdom to come and draw them, divide.
But Chanda,
I'm like,
even when I remember I was young and I'm looking at the map of Zambia and I'm like, why is there a line? You know, like wait, I'd not studied history or anything. And I was like, why is that so straight?
yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if people question that point, but literally these people stood in a room and divided the country, put straight lines everywhere in various places. And apparently, we have to accept that. So if your brother lived this side of the line and you were this side, which is the case a lot in Zimbabwe,
And
we're
bloody
very
Korea.
similar. Yes, but I'm talking specifically to us, you know, or even the Congolese, right? You know, like a lot of the Bemba migration and everything, when we were people who migrated, it seems so stupid to think that, oh no, you can't cross this line anymore.
Going to Wapula, what happens from the copper belt?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Saying. Instead of going around like this.
Exactly.
I hear you. But leadership is something that needs to be understood.
Yes, our point was leadership.
Yeah, because of the failure.
So that was power.
Yeah, we're talking about power. That was imperialistic power, as displayed and demonstrated in the Star Wars series.
Luke,
Yes.
I am your father.
I am your father. Karuka ever daddy tumuneni. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of new events have come up. Recent events show that in the last 10, 15 years, Zambia has lacked leadership. Whether we like it or not, it's a fact. We've had people in power. We have not had people in leadership. They've had the power, and because of that power, they use that to control the rest of us. And they've got their minions who they've used as soldiers and footmen to go out and destabilize.
Why do you think we have gone towards power rather than leadership?
Because
Why does every president, and I'm not saying that's true, but as an example, why has every president gone for power rather than leadership?
Who of the presidents do you think was power? Who was leadership?
none of them. Mademoiselle, to answer your question, which of the 7 presidents have we've had who've shown what? Leadership or power? Or both?
Which one was leadership? Which one was power? You can't be both.
Kaunda, power. Absolutely.
I would say he
No
went
doubt.
from leadership to power.
Well, he led.
Because under 27 years, like, it's an inevitable change. He came in under leadership.
But that it only took him how many years? 9 years to flip?
Don't be so mean.
9 years or 7 or 8 years?
No, because that's 70 something.
Yes.
No. It was the 80s when it flipped. When the copper prices dropped, for those who remember.
I have proof.
That's when it changed.
Girl, I have proof.
Prove it.
I was there.
So was I. What's your point?
No, you were not.
I was here.
You were not.
I was.
Girl,
It was not. I remember it was around about the 80s. That's when, remember when people start to say, you'll be arrested.
No.
You'll be beaten.
Okay.
That's the flip I'm talking about.
Okay, so I think he lost it. He was okay. Maybe the leadership factor was showing in the first 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. Because Kaunda flipped on us and decided, I will bring what's known as a one-party participatory democracy. I'm like, what is that BS?
That came from the beginning, though.
Huh?
That was part of it from the beginning.
No, there was a declaration of change from either 1972 or 1973. That's when I feel Kaunda changed it, because from that time...
Okay, and you know how my perception of this was everything that we emulated. Remember, the power was handed over. We had the UK legal system.
Yep.
We had the UK what
Everything
system.
UK
Everything
system.
was UK system,
Yeah.
which implied when they looked at it, they were like, wait, we want the monarchy system as well. You're ruled by one person who's there for life. Why can't we be there for life? Because we came from the British, not the Americans. So why did we have terms? So I think that's when KK, Mugabe, what's the Uganda guy? That's when they all changed. They were like, no, we're also leaders for life. They saw themselves more as a king or queen rather than a leader.
So
Which means I'm agreeing with you, actually.
Okay, if you agree with me, that's fine. Kaunda, power. Then FTJ
Leader to
came.
Power.
Hell no.
Leader to power.
Okay, transition.
No, he was very good at the beginning.
Yes, because you're just, my president. That
No,
kind of
but
stuff.
we had a country which had its own manufacturing. Each one of our states,
I'm okay
provinces.
with that.
My point is, he did do a lot for the country,
Yeah.
or the party did do a lot. They emulated and did the right things in the early days.
Okay, so potato.
It's not.
Tomato.
Carry on.
Data.
Before I beat you in front of the people. Data.
This is what I go through. Data.
Uh-huh.
So, FTJ.
Yeah.
FTJ came, there was a sweep, there was an uprising of sorts, there was a revolution. So the MMD
the multi-party?
Yes, they came into power, everyone was overjoyed and happy. He would go on the podium and say, "Are you ready for change?" You'd be like, "Yes!"
So he came with leadership.
Yeah, so he came with leadership. But
And
then
then-
he done flipped as well.
Okay, how long
He
did it
was
take him?
He was like,
How long did it take him?
I didn't know this sweet was so
Hey,
powerful.
remember when people used to say, where did he come from? Which village which compound or whatever? Where was he?
Cover belt. He was from the cover belt.
Okay, so then when he came, then they said, I can't remember how it was put, but number for my Italian suits, then sapato shako Italy, I'm a tailored suits. That's what I remember about Chiluba.
There you go. He had quite a bit of shoes.
Because at first he was just like a normal person. You know, when he was doing the rallies and he's in the cars and they were bringing him through.
Yeah.
So like oversized, because he was a tiny little man.
Hang on. Well, they had to tell him Bali. Change the image.
I saw Vika number tailored
Leather
leather shoes from Italy.
You are in charge, man. Change
And he
appearance. Yeah, so FTJ.
So he got a taste of power.
I think FTJ, like you talked about Kaunda, he started off well. And then somebody whispered in his ear, like,
Power whispered, it's not somebody.
Don't
blame others. Don't blame others.
It's always.
We're waiting then for Traore for someone to whisper in his ear.
He's going to shoot him. He's going to shoot them. You don't play that one. Whatever man. Anyway, so FTJ, you are thinking he started as a leader and then transitioned into...
honestly, for me, I never felt he was a leader. I think he was kind of raised up and put into the leadership position, which tends to happen. And once in there, he was more power rather than leadership.
Okay.
I personally don't see anything that he did.
Okay.
I have to say, his son is quite good looking.
Leadership.
I saw his son recently on something. I was like, oh, he's all right, actually.
Was he taller than you?
I don't know. I just saw him on footage.
They will text him then. Inbox
Even if it's short. I
what
mean, what do they call them? Short kings? I could do short kings.
Just say, Daddy.
Zambians, 90% of them are 5'3". Yeah, I could do a short king.
Okay, 90% boss. Yeah, good. Holla at her.
We talk such shit sometimes.
You talk shit. You're misleading me.
Carry on.
Yeah. So FTJ, the jury is out. But that power factor...
How do you feel?
The power factor just gripped him.
What do you feel?
No, I had a good time under the leadership of... when he was ruling the country. I think for me, work was good. Everything was working out quite all right. The challenge I have, I'm conflicted when it comes to Levi Mwanawasa.
I don't know Mwanawasa at all. I was very much detached from the country. Zero knowledge.
I'm conflicted.
So how do you think he came in?
He was a chosen one.
By?
FTJ.
So explain to me. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. What was the transition?
So towards the end of his term, FTJ tried to run for a third term.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
I was in the UK and I read 70% of a survey has been done. 70% of Zambians want him to have another term. I was like, motherfucker,
propaganda.
please.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody want you.
Yeah. So that's what happened. He tried to push the third term agenda. There was a lot of...
And that's the power thing.
Yeah, so at that point, you know
After
that...
a multi-party democracy, KK, you need to get out. Now you also want what KK had.
And it manifests itself from how you treat the person who was before you. You know that here the element of power has just consumed you. You're not into leadership anymore. You're just trying to fix this person as you are thinking on behalf of... That's not what the Zambian people want. So this element of leaders saying, the Zambians have spoken, is BS.
I know. Huh? And you know, PF are very good at Zambians want us. Only 1 million Zambians voted for you. So no, they don't.
Find those 1 million.
Out of the 20 million, only 1 million voted for you.
Yeah.
Stop lying to yourselves.
Exactly. So towards the end of his term, he figured I can be here for another, the guy was 27 years, so I can do another term.
Exactly.
I can do 15 years. But it didn't work out for him because also in the process, there were too many promises that, no, I'm going to leave power, you take over, or you take over. So when it didn't work...
And interestingly, that's what Russia did.
Yes, but Russia, it worked for Russia because
he was very
Medvedev would rule for one term as as president,
and then
the other guy would
come back.
Yeah,
but now he hasn't gone since he came back.
It's not happening.
Power.
Yes. So it was weird. Like, so how do a president? No man a prime minister, but ever boss. Ero you boss. A boss bati ni under boss. Sorry, I'm using.
I remember same with Mugabe.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers President Banana.
Oh, but your Lord.
Nobody remembers President Banana.
Yeah.
Dale, do you know who he is? You see?
He's not a fruit.
President Banana was the president of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Mugabe was the prime minister. And suddenly the prime minister had more power than the president.
It is I.
And then Mugabe does not go anywhere.
Yeah.
Till death do us part.
Power.
Power.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So fundamentally, what we're saying is power is what African leaders prefer to leadership.
It ends in tears.
Who has cried? Who has cried?
They died. They were miserable after that.
But everyone's going to die anyway.
No, but
that's not a valid point.
Okay, so listen. Do you know why it ends in tears? Because after they leave power, none of them just retires happily thereafter.
Who has retired?
When you're done, when you're beaten in the elections, you're supposed to be like, okay, no man.
KK retired. Huh? KK retired.
No, KK lost. He was beaten. He didn't retire. Then he decided, I'm coming back into power.
Once you're beaten, you retire.
Yes.
No, KK went quietly.
Oh.
Did he not?
Oh.
I don't know. Tell me. I was not here.
KK had to concede to the demands of what was prevailing in the country. Winds of change had come. But thereafter,
those are lots of big words. Can you use actual words? We use what actually happened.
That's what happened.
Winds of change.
Yes.
From where?
From the people.
Province. Southeast winds.
Westerly.
El Nino. Which winds are you talking about?
Southeasterly winds flowing from the east.
That's what I'm saying. El Nino.
Anyway, so when Kaunda left...
Nino, as they say in Zambia. El Nino.
Leave us alone.
El Nino.
We are English.
It's a Spanish word.
Yeah, wherever. Wherever. Yes. So anyways,
Chanda, we're serious tangent. Pull us back. Come on.
No, it's you.
I know. I'm enjoying the tangent personally.
Yeah, so we came to Manawasa. And I was saying I'm conflicted about Manawasa. There are things that I think a larger part of the people of Zambia believe.
So you were saying he was
handpicked.
He was handpicked.
To
which
take
means
over.
What? So when elections happened, what happened?
So the party picks who their candidate will be. They won't go through a normal convention and whatnot. No. He was somewhere and it was like, okay, so I had promised to you, I'm not going to put them there. I promised to you, I'm going to put them there.
No, basics.
I'm trying to run you through.
Chiluba could not run.
No, he was defeated now. His idea of third term could not work anymore.
Yes, but his party had to still run.
Yes.
And so Manawasa was the
was the chosen one.
Okay, so, but he still runs properly.
Yes, well, he's a chosen one, so he'll be the candidate for the party.
Yes, so he still runs properly.
Yeah.
And who were the countering parties at the time? Who were the other opposition parties?
UPND.
And so how did
Mazoka.
How did that all go? I wasn't here. So
It didn't go well. So history shows that
So
the
MMD
UPND
was
lost.
still the stronger power
Yeah, it was-
even during that election process.
Yes. So they had an election, and Manawasa won. That was 2001, because then Chilobadan is 10 years, from 91 to 2001. So Manawasa came 2001, and then 2006 they needed to have another election, which is highly contested as having been won by the opposition. When they contested the 2006 elections.
So who won the elections? Who won?
The MMD won.
But then who contested?
The
So
op-
basically it was rigged. You're saying those elections were rigged.
No, I'm not saying it was rigged. I'm saying it was contested. As far as the
You
other
don't
team was...
contest unless you think that it's rigged.
I am not saying that. I am saying
Okay,
the
I'm
other
not
team
asking
said...
you what was said at the time. So MMD won the elections,
yes.
and then the opposition said it was rigged.
Well, I suppose we could go with rigged.
Well, of course, what else is there?
Yeah. So
Because we have a lot of this politically.
Yeah.
That's why we have these independents who come and watch the election process.
Yeah. So at that time, I think the issue was the president who had won, that's President Levi Manawasa, was not in good health to carry on for a long time.
So when he won, he was already sick?
He wasn't. He had had an accident, remember?
No, I don't.
He had a very bad accident. Terrible accident. It
So
was-
I thought the accident was after he had been in power. I didn't realize it was like before.
He had the accident, I think, I can't remember very well whether it was during his term as vice president, I think.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because at some point, remember, he was vice president, then he left. He felt the position was compromised, or he did not align well with what the leadership then was doing. So he
Direction.
just said, no, look, I'm a professional, I'm a lawyer, I can earn my living using, whatever I used to do before, so I'm going. That's why he had left and was followed later as the chosen one to come and lead the
Why is it
MMD.
that lawyers are the ones who seem to be okay to run for presidentship?
Because they're the most crooked. What other reason? Lawyers are the most crooked in
I drink to
the
that.
world. How many lawyer presidents have you had in America? All crooked. Yeah. So anyway, that's another thing. So the jury for me is still out. I don't know whether he was a leader or he was. I did not.
So during his term,
Yeah.
did he do 1 term or 2?
1.5. Because
Okay,
he
so
died.
he died during his
during
term.
his term, yeah.
So how do you think he started and how do you think he ended?
Well, he was the chosen one. So clearly, especially when he removed President Chiluba's immunity, people thought, wow, now we're going to get somewhere. We have a true leader now.
Okay.
So you remove the immunity of the president who suspects to have done a lot of atrocities, committed a lot of atrocities,
Corruption-based?
corruption and everything else.
Okay.
And you want to investigate. But for you to investigate the leader, you have to remove his immunity first. So Parliament voted overwhelmingly to remove FTJ's immunity, and then you could take him to court.
And he was still alive at that time?
Yeah, he
and-
was alive at that time.
Okay,
And then, yeah, so eventually,
So that was leadership in progress at that stage?
I think the way he started,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
So this is a consistent theme. Start with leadership, end with power.
I think so.
Then, next one.
I think so. So when he died, there was another gentleman who was sleeping at home in the village somewhere. His name is Rupia Banda.
Okay.
He was also handpicked.
Okay. He's someone I did not know at all.
Yeah, he was also under MMD. So the MMD basically ruled for 20 years.
Consistently, yes.
Yeah, 20
so
years.
27 UNIP,
Yeah,
20 MMD.
and then 10 PF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So after that, after Manawasa, Rupia Banda came as president. For me, I did not see any leadership here.
How, where did he come from? Like, what was
He was at home.
No, I know, but why would the people of Zambia care about him once he was in front of them?
The people of Zambia never consulted over these things. The party chooses.
They are the voters.
Wait
You're
a
saying-
minute.
You're saying they waste their time voting.
Let me tell you, they come and give you
Don't
our
vote.
Emma candidate. Yeah.
Yes, I know.
And this is how we're going to engineer
But
it
the
so that this one.
the choice is how many candidates you have.
Anyways, Rupiah Banda came over. Hey, I'm the one chosen, Fida. Can I? Oh, yeah, sure. Let's give it a try. I thought Rupiah Banda had no modicum of leadership in him.
Okay.
Yep.
So a puppet? Who was pulling the strings?
He was just there.
But who was pulling the strings?
No, he was there.
Because Lungu was effectively a puppet at the start.
Now, that's a different thing. Yeah. He was in charge, but he was just there. Period. For me, no significant changes. But those people who are politically aligned will tell you exactly what he did, which was good for the country.
What did they say that he
I don't
did?
know. I'm not there. This is my opinion. I don't think he was a leader.
Okay.
So,
And
enter
he
Michael
was in
Sata.
how many terms?
Half a term.
Oh, okay.
Because he came 2008 when late President Manawasa was normal. So he took
Manawasa
over.
dies,
Yeah.
elections happen again?
Yeah, so when Manawasa died, he took over for 3 months, and there was a by-election,
Ah,
a presidential by-election.
okay.
He beat Michael Sata.
Okay.
Yeah, so he ruled from 2008 to 2011,
Okay.
when Michael Sata, now a PF, came and said
So Sata was a part of MMD,
he booked out,
leaves, goes to PF or creates PF.
creates.
Okay.
Creates PF.
That's the start of PF as a separate party. Same people, different freaking party.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
So Michael Sata came into power after defeating Rupiah Banda.
Rupiah.
And
So at the elections, he wins. Is it a clear win? Like,
I wired him.
uh-huh.
Yeah, clear win. No dispute. Yeah.
Oh, no, just like, UPND was 2 million versus 1 million, which is a very clear win.
Yeah. But I think with Michael Sata, they also reached a point where, if I remember correctly, where I said, this other one won't even count.
What do you mean?
This, whatever is remaining, it doesn't matter.
You can't do that.
I'm saying, yeah. Why are you arguing with me? Go on.
No, but I get upset by things like that.
Anyways, I digress. So he won, and he ruled for...
So how was he as a leader or...
I honestly think Michael Sata came with leadership,
Yeah?
because Michael Sata had a presence.
Okay.
Even when he walks into a room, those murmurs would die. I'll be like, I can take a vice, a president vice. Okay? And he was showing leadership. Others will have a different opinion, but since it's our show,
100%.
I think Michael Sata was a leader. Okay? And he unfortunately did not finish his term.
How long did he do?
3 years, I think.
Was that
2011. He died 2014, I think.
all? Wow.
Aye.
That was all.
Yeah, 2014, yeah. Then he died. So 2015, there was a... Okay, when Michael Sata died, a lot of stuff just changed. The political scene changed. Because the guy who took over was not eligible to run for presidency, and that was Guy Scott.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of back and forth.
Was he not eligible?
He wasn't eligible.
Are you sure?
He was not eligible. The rules are very clear.
What were the terms? Because he was vice president.
Yeah, but the constitution also tells you need to have parentage of Shanshan Yuko. Anyway. So let's fast forward.
Okay. So Guy can't be president, although
So-
he was acting president for a
Yes,
period
he
of
ca-
time.
yes.
So then they find a new replacement for the party's presidentship.
Yes.
Now, was it for the parties, or did was Lungu automatically president just because he was president of the party?
So
Was there elections or not? There wasn't.
no, there was
Where did Lungu even come from?
from the party.
No. So
So
your
remember,
VP
and-
can't be president. So then what does the party do? They hold elections.
Yeah, they have their own
just
convention.
find a boy in the
No,
company
no.
and they bring him up and say, President Wesu.
I think they knew who they wanted as a party.
Because I know he was also handpicked.
As a party, I agree with you. They knew who they wanted. So the party itself decided we want this guy to be in the next election, next presidential election. So within that sphere, they contested who the Kambilis and whatnot. They were allowed, but clearly, Lungu emerged as the preferred candidate.
No.
within their circle?
There was no preferred. There was the only candidate.
Imwe.
He was the only candidate. Who
Ah,
else was the candidate? Who else?
They were the
Who?
convention.
Where?
Their own
Kwenzelibe.
Okay, so tell me what you know.
No, there was no one else. He was literally the one that they handpicked, and then he became, because he was also a puppet.
That's your bit.
Yes,
Me,
I'm
I just
saying
didn't
that.
like him at all.
Huh?
Me, I just didn't like him at all.
I just didn't like him either. I don't think much of him.
Not as a person, but as a
As
president.
a president, 100%.
Oh, no.
Zero leadership.
So anyways, with Michael Sata, if we're grading them, for me, I think he was leader. Then came the man who I think it was all about power. Yeah, from the beginning to the time he left office, it was all about power. You can
do you
reference...
Go on.
You can reference the various interviews he had done locally and abroad. You can tell that, okay, apa penan para shupa.
Chanda, you know what, for me, he had zero leadership and he had zero power.
There you go. So on that one, he wins. So after that came the current
And
president.
it's the way that they elevate him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, he was not that great.
No, it wasn't. So then comes the current president. I'm also confused.
Now,
about him.
do you, okay, so from your knowing of him, is it leadership, is it power?
Who?
HH,
I'm coming there.
you said current, are we not there already?
But, okay. So with the current president, I don't know what's going on. I swear.
No, when he came in, how did you see him? So for me, I'm in the UK, I'm watching interviews, I don't know anything about the political spectrum on the ground, right? And I just see this person being interviewed, one of the opposition parties, that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I see this. This can be leadership. And he said a lot of good things. So I was convinced that he could be good.
So for me, he was a leader in opposition.
Yes.
He was an opposition leader,
Yes.
not just an opposition president. He was in leadership. He was saying the right things.
Yeah. He
Pressing the right
was
buttons.
a leader, right?
Pressing the right buttons. Even the Tuma remixes were good. Whatever he was saying, he galvanized the people. People, they had belief.
Do you think he did though? I don't think
Oh,
so.
yeah. Why do you think we voted for him?
Because-
that was like...
Because we were voting out PF.
So that's one way of saying it.
And no, that is my, you said, why do you think? And I do believe the people voted out PF.
Yeah. So the best option available at that time
Yes.
was...
They were the only two prime
yeah.
parties.
But aside from that, the current president
because a lot
was
of
saying
people
the,
had said
was
that
saying
if
the
he
right
doesn't
things.
win this election, he's out.
Nishtapwa.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That was like 16 years of him trying, wasn't it? Was it 16?
a lot of years.
A lot of years. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so
He wins.
I think when he won, and we probably thought, I'm not going to say we,
Yeah.
I won't generalize, like Zambians thought, woofy. I thought he was going to flip the whole script. Things were going to be okay.
You're done.
Yes. So they coined this
you
term,
done, yeah,
"You done."
Kwesa.
Ish.
Eh?
Twaliba mu eclipse. It's wild. Oh my gosh.
Eh, no
Don't
more
know
eclipse
whether
na
it's
taile.
lunar eclipse, solar eclipse. It's, aish. But on the ground, the truth is, whatever was promised, whatever was dictated to, whatever was thrown at us, has not materialized. So people, I'm justified to say I have not seen the leadership I was expecting. I have not seen it.
So what do you think we're getting now? Do you think HH is leadership or power or something else right now?
That's why I said with the current president, I do not know what's going on. But he's not the same person who
What do you
promised
think?
us.
What are you getting? So be more specific.
No, I'm
You can't
telling
say
you.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, Chanda. Someone said to me, "You're not 12 years old. You can't say I don't know."
I don't know.
So you do know. So be specific.
No, I don't know. I don't
What
know.
are you seeing?
I've not seen it. I've not seen what was promised. That's
Okay,
an answer.
so if you're not seeing what was promised, then he has failed to deliver.
100%.
Which means at the end of the term, he's not someone you'll vote for.
I didn't vote for him.
I didn't say that. At the end of the term,
This is me.
At the end of his term, the next voting, he's not someone you'll vote for.
I voted neither for him nor for.
And that's
the
another
PF
problem that you
candidate.
have, that you should vote.
No,
Because
no.
every vote
I voted.
counts.
I'm
Who
saying
did you
I
vote
voted.
for?
I voted for my very wonderful lady Shalakateka.
Who's that?
You see how bad you are.
I'm bad because I don't know number 3 in the
Another, you don't
Who's
even
that?
know. She's a leader of the New Heritage Party.
The one, isn't she under Tonse now?
Oka.
Uka.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I voted for her. I didn't have a problem with that. But the truth is, from my understanding, is what we were promised, what's going on, not
So
happening.
he's failed to deliver.
Hell yeah.
So leadership seems to not be materializing.
It's not. It has not happened because unless you see something different. Because by that time you're already tuned into what's going on in Zambia. So I don't know how your perspective of it is.
I felt like he came across really well in the early days. Like I said, the interview that I watched, which was, he was at about 10 years of trying. And I saw this interview and I was like, actually, I like this guy because he's thinking more in a business head rather than a political head. Because I don't believe in politicians. I think politicians are just a ruse. None of them are genuine. They're just there for power. But if you look at something as a business, you can see how to change something.
Yeah.
But I feel like he suddenly decided only he has the power to change the country. And what he did, although he doesn't necessarily use abusive power, he uses limiting power. He doesn't empower the people. The people who are under him are all waiting for instructions.
Advising the advisors.
Yes.
Okay.
And so in the end, it's not moving forward, it's stagnating. His leadership has stagnated. And he's also been fraught with a lot of the modern world is not the same world. I think he mentally could have been like Sata or Pia Banda's type of, he would have been good at that time. But today, with the modern world and social media and the way that news happens so fast, he's just not up for it. He's too religious is my thing.
Religious?
Yeah.
So?
I think religion still plays a big part in limiting our progress.
I think he plays it safe.
Same thing. We're saying the same
thing. I just
thing.
think he plays it safe. Because there are things...
But also, he went safe with the Europeans. He wanted to align himself with Europe, not the Chinese. And the Europeans are the weakest entities in the world right now. Right?
Yeah.
He should have gone with China because that's more power. Or you be in, align yourself with Russia. You go where the power is.
Yeah,
I
suppose. It's also knowing how to use the cards you're dealt with.
But also, Chanda, Traore has been able to turn around and start industries. Why are we failing to do anything? We're busy waiting for IMF to give us okays, green lights. We haven't done anything in the country.
Leadership.
Decisiveness.
It's not about me. It's about my people.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I am with this man.
So when we said in the other topic that we were saying about how many doctors are there who have qualified, why are those doctors not in full-time employment, paid employment? Why are they not? Because that's a basic wage. We're not even asking you to pay the big people. No. We're asking you to pay the basic
entry
wage.
Level.
Teachers, nurses, doctors, engineers, basic level. If all of those people are paying, are being paid a wage, then they are paying taxes. And so you've even failed at just getting the basics in place.
So he plays it safe in my understanding. That's why I said I can't place him. About leadership, power. Because, look, I think ultimately, if you really wanted to use...
What power play has he done?
No.
What would you consider a power play by HH?
I don't see that.
No, I don't either.
I don't see that. So that's why I'm saying my conclusion is that he's been playing safe. That's my conclusion. I don't know how you conclude.
It's not safe. He's just not,
Indifferent.
neither a leader, neither a power player.
So he's indifferent about the whole thing?
He's a one-term. You know, like they have a one-hit wonder. He's a one-term wonder.
Let's come to that. In the region, if you talk about leadership or power, how would you categorize the following leaders in these countries? Cyril Ramaphosa. You know him.
I don't know him. Don't imply things.
You know him. We'll pull up his picture.
Cyril and I got babies.
Oh my God.
I'm one of his baby mamas.
Oh Lord.
I don't know him. I'm wife number 52.
That's not that brother.
Cyril.
Yeah.
Cyril's a power. There's a category we need that's missing somewhere.
We need to create one.
Yeah. Cyril.
Like a foot on either side.
Riding the wave.
That's Cyril.
Riding the wave.
Then that's the same as HH.
That's why I came up. Yeah, riding. They're just riding the wave. They're neither going to achieve. They're not the wave creator. They're not the wave dominator. When that wave crashes, they're out.
He's not a super surfer.
Cyril, even now, we know that the elections, if there was not the sharing of the power, he didn't win.
He didn't lose either.
He didn't win.
He didn't lose either.
No. He didn't win, as in, no, it was not a unanimous vote.
He didn't lose.
And you only do that by manipulating.
He followed the rules that were available.
Yes,
That's
politics,
all.
manipulation.
Yeah.
That's the same. This is the same as Tony Blair. No. Wasn't Blair? Who was the one who did the alliance with the Lib Dems?
It was Brown.
No, it wasn't Brown.
It was Tony Blair, actually. The first one was Tony Blair. Then after the alliance, the second votes, the Conservatives wired everyone.
Right, yeah.
But and then,
at a certain point, they needed someone else to keep them in power.
Yeah.
Chanda, if I want to pay to keep myself in this house, I can sleep with the landlord.
Oh, like a bastard.
Doesn't mean I paid for it. Do you see what I mean? Like, that doesn't make it okay.
Yeah,
you didn't win the right way.
It does not legitimize it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Cyril.
Riding the wave.
Riding the wave.
I'm giving you a tough one now.
Okay, let's go.
Botswana.
I don't know much about that nation, I have to say. I have to say, the new one is getting a lot of acclaim, but I'm not sure I believe it.
Look, the way I see that the new guy, his name is Boka or Boko?
I don't know.
He's more like slightly older Traore.
No, I think he sounds it, but I'm not believing it.
He's doing it. Just the other day, he did something very, very weird. He's like, but this issue of you're going somewhere, there's a delegation of 20 people. Why? For what?
Yeah, but those are simple solves. Remember HH also when he came, we don't need new cars.
This is one guy. Okay, look. Let's before we hang on to this too much, because we'll have to recharge these batteries. Botswana, you don't know much about him.
No.
I think my opinion is that he's a leader. There are things that he's subtly changing without really ruffling the feather. He's just saying, look, this is not necessary. That's not necessary. Why are we doing this?
I know, but those are small wins.
You guys, this is how the country is
That's like
losing.
you come to my house and I clean.
No.
That's not like
to clean.
That's not like fundamentally
but
changing.
He's changing things that was considered as standard. For instance, he's gone into I won't get into specifics, but he's gone into this business thing and said, look, this is how we should deal with the diamonds or the gold or whatever it is, guys. Can we do it this instead of like that? He's trying to show leadership. He's new. He's not even a year older.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a year older.
No.
So let's see what happens.
I think some of that also is a realization of the market. The diamond industry is changing. You know, you can't be stupid enough to think that we'll keep going as we were. People are not buying diamonds anymore. What
I'm saying is that he's aware of what's going on around him and he's trying to take leadership. Just like Traore saying,
okay, I think my difference is fixing something that's broken and creating something new are very different. I see Traore creating new things.
He's fixing as well.
Traore, ultimately creating. Car industry. EV industry. They never had that.
Yeah, but
right?
some of these things, Malama, you can't...
Getting rid of the French out of the country. Who else has the courage to do that?
Look, you just can't create. For instance, getting the French out is fixing a rotten system.
But how many people have got rid of...
Who?
How many people have got rid of... do we not still have our aid givers in this country?
No, what I'm saying to you
It's only because they've retracted their aid. We didn't turn around and say, take your fucking aid, get out of our country.
Yeah, but you're saying it's more like creating. What I'm saying is it's fixing and creating. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just adding the fixing part. There are things that he has to fix. He just can't create automatically.
No,
like,
I wasn't necessarily saying that.
Yeah.
Okay, and maybe to your point, this guy's been about a year, less than a year.
Yeah,
so he's still in the fixing stage.
Yeah.
And to be fair, maybe even when HH came in, we were like, he's fixing because he was busy. IMF. Okay, he's fixing. Now, number 3 years to Chiripa IMF, or is it 4 years now? 4 years.
3 years, 8 months.
Yeah, we're
Huh?
still
3
on
years,
IMF.
10 months, right?
But
10 months.
they managed to get it. But the point is, it took so long to resolve the IMF situation, but fundamentally we feel nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you build an industry, and like I was saying, Traore is building this EV cars, goes back to KK, Kapiri Glass, gosh, what are the different industries that we used to have?
Where the
Mulungushi Textiles,
where the tires,
the batteries, everything was bicycles, in different places.
We had knockdown kits for
and you know,
vehicles,
fundamentally, industries are actually very. If you have a certain amount of money, it's easy to build industries.
Look, one of the reasons we're saying that there's a leadership failure is because you can't have president in today comes and quacks about something. They are very knowledgeable, these guys. They know what's going on. They've got advisors. Even bad advisors have got some modicum of sense in them. You know what I mean? So there's no way you can say manufacturing is suffering. Dude, you know why manufacturing is suffering. So when you're classified as a failed leader, it's because we knew that you identified a component of the economy which could uplift the citizens.
Exactly.
And you're not doing anything about it.
It was blatantly obvious to anyone. You were not special in that discovery.
So when
you didn't fix it.
Yeah, when you exclude Kaunda, because he's the forefather, the ones that came subsequently should have done a lot.
Yeah.
So the bracket, the pool of failure in leadership includes all of them to a larger extent. But
and you know what I find interesting is a lot of times when I speak to them, when they justify PF, they say, yeah, but with PF, we got airports, we got stadiums, we got like infrastructure.
That's bullshit.
No. This is what I'm saying.
I agree with
That's
you.
how they justify it.
Yeah.
But then when you say, what has UPND given us? Nothing. People can't even quantify that. And that's what he doesn't understand. That's what's missing. So if I can't chalk up your success, it looks like no success.
I agree. I'm not going to argue with you. It's just that some of the arguments don't make sense from their justification point. Because the government is supposed to build these things for you anyway.
I know, but
Yes.
but PF didn't build it. They borrowed shit ton of money from the Chinese.
So the issue of Sontopo Bombele was just some slogan which was politically motivated, period.
What was it?
Sontopo Bombele. Show me what you've done. Show me your work.
Sonta. Okay.
Yeah. So with the Botswana president, we can say he's new, but he's trying to make some inroads into being a very good leader. Zimbabwe.
Sure. I'm so disappointed with the Zimbabwean government. I really thought that he was going to be different. 100%. Same shit. Different president. He learned from the best. How can you... You're too close. He learned from the best.
Who was the best?
Mugabe. Where you don't even know the president's name of your country. That's fucking power. That is power.
Power.
Yeah.
If you whisper his name like, that was KK's mate.
Yes, of course.
Same age.
All of those, they were Matis.
Do you have anything to say about Malawi?
The lady?
Malawi is a dude.
Is it a lady?
Namibia is a lady.
Oh, no, then I don't know Malawi's. I thought it was a lady. Malawi is a very tough situation. Such a small country. Like, I mean, to be fair, so is Rwanda. But if we say Rwanda, I think definite leadership. I've been very torn with his, what's his name again? I've forgotten.
Paul.
Yeah, Kagame. I've been very torn with, is it leadership, is it power? Because obviously, when you're in the UK and the white people are interviewing him, yes, but you should have left, when you're after your second term. And I remember watching his interview and he said, yes, but the people wanted me. And I remember thinking, did they want you though? But then I thought, but he's still doing good.
He's delivering.
You don't see the change that we saw in terms of the power thing. I'm not saying it's not there, because there was the young lady who was going to run for office and shut down very quickly. So you can't tell whether they're being shut down or maybe just amongst themselves they stop pushing for power.
Yeah.
But in terms of delivery, I think Rwanda as a nation has done extremely well.
Amazing.
And you can't deny the outcome that they've had, considering where they came from.
I love Rwanda as a country, and also just the attitude. You see, he's inculcated a feeling of responsibility in the citizens. Okay, they have things that they do which are now standard in terms of behavior itself. You can't come back. You're the president of a country like Zambia, which is way older than Uganda. I think in terms of the experiences we've gone through. Probably Uganda got independence before Zambia, though.
I can't remember.
But you come back from Rwanda and then you come and say, gosh, that country, that Kigali is so clean. Dude, why can't you be clean with your Lusaka City Council? Why do you have to politicize everything?
We're only clean when some foreign dignitary is coming.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was ashamed when our president said that place is very clean.
Oh, really?
Yes. He went, he saw, he did not conquer. But basically, you know what I'm talking about. There's been a problem there because the understanding of the requirements of the dictates of Western democracy and how we understand it in Africa is very different. The once blue-eyed boy of the Americans was Museveni in Uganda. I think he's put it on record somewhere that democracy can't work for us. Yeah. It's the same way Paul said, but the people want me. How am I going to justify? I think Obama tries to bring that point across that day. You've done your 2 terms, Shan, book out and stuff like that. So the influences that come from the Western side are so strong.
They can be. Yeah, I hear you. And I think also like emulating.
Yeah.
You don't have to emulate. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. There has to be like some leeway. But then I get frustrated with places like Nigeria.
Yeah.
What do you think there?
I don't think. Nigeria, no. I'll be very honest with you. Nigeria, Congo, the 2 most dysfunctional countries in Africa. I don't care how people are going to see that. I don't care if people say they've got the highest number of billionaires in Africa. It's BS. They are the most dysfunctional countries in Africa.
Or maybe corruption is what
Congo,
leads to
that's why I'm saying they're the most dysfunctional countries.
Yeah.
Congo, simple example. Moise Katumbi leaves Katanga province as governor. One person fails to take over. They have to divide the bloody province into 3 or 4 governors. What is that BS? Congo is the most, what do they not have in the world, not in Africa? They are endowed with natural resources no other nation can come close to. No other nation can come close to.
I think that's the problem, and then you can use Nigeria in the same example.
Yes.
They have, see, the assumption is, don't forget, these Europeans didn't have these natural resources. That's why they divided up Africa, to get those resources.
I agree.
Now, if you're the country that has resources, it's now power, isn't it?
Yep.
It's all about power and not leadership. Nobody's leading the countries to be like, oh, let's have fair and equitable division of profits in the country. Nah, motherfuckers. It's power of, who's the real strength here.
100%. So my argument there is that I would like to agree with what you're saying, but Nigeria was gained its independence, what, 65 years ago? Are we going to go by the same thread of our way? No, 65 years ago means that by now could have known that these are the resources we have, this is a population, this is how we need to
Politically,
do.
there's been zero stability in that country. And it's like, because you're fighting, if you become the president, you just have access to so much money.
Gosh.
You know?
Same thing with Congo.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh
yes,
my gosh.
that's what I'm saying.
You got, you know, it's annoying. So it would take me to a place I don't want to go to.
Can I tell you something that frustrated me?
Tell me.
Listening to the Lungu family talking about the issues when HH did not allow Lungu to leave Zambia to go for his medical treatment. And they turned around and they said Lungu was invited and supported by well-wishers to go for his treatment because the family has no money. And I thought, less than 5 years ago, you were president of a country and you're telling us you had no money? What is this fake humility you're trying to sell us?
That party is bad. Those pronouncements were misplaced. If I were them, which I am not, there was, there's wisdom in humility. That's what
They have fake humility, that's the problem. But my point is, just acknowledge he was the president of a nation. He knew how to make money. He has contacts. Tony Blair, as soon as Tony Blair was out of power, the Tony Blair Foundation.
Boom.
Where's that money coming from? Huh?
Connections.
They know how to go and get money. Yes. They know who to speak to, because if I was in power, I know all the people who are powerful.
I agree.
So you make connections. Don't tell me that your Shawi connection that you used to have is no longer there. Come on now. Huh?
We need a timeout. All right, Tanya. Let's see if we can pivot to leadership internally now. We've tried to talk about generally what's happening in the region.
You sound way too calm
who
compared to
is-
the drama that we were having 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. So I want to bring it home. Let's be very practical. Let's start with the Patriotic Front and the Tonse Alliance.
We're about them.
Let's talk about the impact of what the former president, what his death has done to the PF and the Tonse Alliance. He was the leader of both the party and the alliance. What I got down in my notes is that Edgar Lungu's passing leaves a leadership vacuum in both the Patriotic Front and the Tonse Alliance. Funny enough, guess what? Weakening their ability to mount a unified challenge to the ruling party in 2026. This is how we think it's going to be, because clearly, even over the last few weeks of since the passing of the late president, we have not seen any logical leader emerging to lead the way. We've seen a lot of arguments
From PF.
from the alliance and from the Patriot Front itself.
But it's this thing that we seem to forget, that it's now a two-party race. Why is it two-party? Who are PF in the grand scheme of things?
So I think the PF are active now because he was their person.
They're active because they were the last party.
Well, that too. But we're talking about what's happening right now.
They're active because they were the last party and he was the last president. And they realized they've got no other strong candidate, no leader.
You are forgetting one important thing.
Mao Sampa? Which one?
I'm qualifying what you're saying. But I'm saying, the reason I'm saying you're forgetting one more thing is that to prove and to 100% agree with you, he had retired.
Sure.
They went and...
grabbed him back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have absolutely no reason to tell us that they had options.
They had no options. They had no options. But also, I'm very surprised by this. And this is my opinion, okay? I'm very surprised that it was around about October, November last year. He was out there. They did Uka. Then they did Tonse. He was in the churches rallying, right? When he decided, if the people want me back. The people didn't want you back. Your party wanted you back.
Exactly.
He comes back in, and now he's rallying. Now, so close, November, December, January, he goes to South Africa for treatment.
Yeah.
Which means he knew he was sick. And I just have this thing that there's a puppet master somewhere. Why did Lungu feel the need? You're on your deathbed and you have been told, come back. You know that this is January, hitting elections around about August next year. But you know you're not well. And then you should be president for how long? How did you not know that under this short period of time, the likelihood is I could be dead? Mm-hmm. So what was he doing all this for?
The people of Zambia.
Don't give me
Cliché.
that bullshit. Don't give me that bullshit.
The people of Zambia are suffering.
No.
I am coming back and I hope to do better.
But Chanda, step away from that bullshit story that we always tell. Mm-hmm. Now do conspiracy theories here, right? Why would you come back in knowing the likelihood is if he had died, now they'd already been discussing successors because they understand this death and successor story. Mm. So we're acting very innocent and, oh, Lungu would never think about things like this. Someone was thinking things. There's a puppet master there somewhere.
But do you want to name names or?
I don't know them. This is my conspiracy.
Okay. So what has happened in the last 12 months is that the PF is grappling with internal factionalism and leadership contests with no clear consensus on candidates to rally behind. Mm-hmm. That is why in that same period, they had Miles Sampa as a leader, mm-hmm. They had Mr. Chavinga as leader, they also had President Edgar Lungu as leader. Factionalism.
Same as UNIP.
At some point rather, they realized very recently that we need to pull together as one unit. Mm-hmm. But that was already too late. Because they had known, the head of state, I think the PS for information is the one who revealed that the head of state had cancer. I didn't know.
The head of state?
Yeah, sorry, the former head of state.
Former
head of state, President.
Just Lungu. What
President
are you head
Lungu.
of stating for? Why are you giving him all this credit?
You are head of state, actually.
No, previous. Yeah. He's no longer.
So because of that, there was an issue of somebody from PF saying we would sue you for 5 billion kwacha.
Saying what to who?
To sue the person who revealed the fact that President Lungu was receiving treatment for a certain disease.
So to the point I made,
I agree.
We all know that he wasn't well. Mm-hmm. They tried to keep it secret and on lockdown, which means the likelihood is he was given, medical people, right? Yeah. They're very pessimistic. Oh, you have 1 to 3 years to live. And then you want to run for a 5-year presidency.
But that's the argument I've had as well. Like, if you know that you're in a bad state, why would you even entertain that idea?
That's what I said.
So the conspiracy theory on one
who
factor,
is the puppet master?
I don't know.
There's a puppet master.
All I know is that the party, in this instance, my conclusion is that they don't care about the wants and needs of the people.
No.
It's about the party benefiting.
But also, in your time of death or near death, the fact that you still want to come back and rally and I don't know, like
my thinking is like, what did he think he was doing this for?
The people of Zambia.
Unless someone, like in America when, oh my God, who was the guy from Friends? The guy from Friends. I don't know if you've seen the story.
Perry.
Who?
Matthew Perry.
Yes, the one who died of the, what was the drug that he had? Ketamine.
Yeah.
So, and whether people know or not, ketamine is like a drug that's used on horses primarily. So it's extremely strong. And it's not, you have to have it really medicated if you're going to have it. Apparently the story is that the doctor who was medicating him saw him as a target. Mm. He's not a doctor who should have been who should have been prescribing ketamine. But he got friendly with him, got on his side and said, I can sort out your medication for you, your drug addiction. Mm. And this man was over-prescribing and was not giving the right dose.
Isn't that the MJ story as well?
Yes, very similar. But I'm sure this man copied that story. Like, the point is, these stars are just humans.
Yeah.
If you're stupid enough to believe my story and pay me money, because you don't think you're going to kill them, but you just keep giving them it becomes more and more drugs, right? As it escalates, it becomes more and more drugs.
So the point I'm trying to make is similarly, who was saying to Lungu, no, just come back. Just come back and rally. Just rally for a little bit. No, come back and be president. No, if you win, you'll be president. Like, who's looking at the long-term impact of you are about to run for presidency again? What does that mean based on your medical health? Why should we as a people have a sick president? Why can't you step away and say, I'm a sick person. I'm not the right candidate for this country?
Conspiracy theory. Puppet master.
Puppet master. Who the puppet master?
The Tonse Alliance is a coalition of multiple parties and struggles with cohesion, which has yet to present a unified presidential candidate or compelling manifesto. Okay, we're talking about leadership still. So without strong, selfless leadership, these opposition groups risk fragmentation, allowing UPND to capitalize on their disarray. True or false?
Very true, 100%. They're capitalizing on everyone's disarray, including UNIP.
Why is this UNIP thing coming by? It
Because
keeps...
you know my connections with UNIP. My point is to show that it's not new. It's not a special circumstance. No. They do have the ability to do it to everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you. So in this instance, when when President Lungu passed on, we have seen that prior to his passing on, there was a leadership fracture in the system. And now that it's gone, there's total chaos regarding the way forward for the party itself and the alliance, because they will need to pull together to choose one person. But that person also starts with who they choose as party for, a leader for PF.
Now let's go back to the whole point that we're trying to put here. We want leadership and not to put someone in leadership.
No.
So if there is no leadership in your party, then your party is not the right party for us to vote for.
It needs to stay away.
Yes. Go back to the back of the line, get yourself sorted, and then when you have proper leadership, come to the people of Zambia.
Come and say, teacher me. So we need to carefully remind the leadership. They need to stop using the phrase, the people of Zambia.
Nobody wants you. Nobody. Get back in the back of the line. Nobody wants you.
I want to pivot to...
Your mother might want you, but that's about it.
Can we pivot to the current state of affairs? The mother.
Your mother. Eh?
The current state of Zambia's leadership and governance. My only son. Katek. So why are we in this state of leadership disarray? Do you have an idea? Or should I read you something?
Go. I'll comment after.
So we were good. We started very well with the campaign prior to the UPND getting into power. The country.
Okay.
We were good. We're like, okay, the campaign is good. We're going to vote for this gentleman. We're going to vote for this party. But the ruling UPND government has failed to fully deliver on its promises, with economic hardships ruling the day, rising inflation, unemployment, and poverty, deepening public dissatisfaction. The other month, somebody released a video saying we've achieved 90% of our targets. You saw that. I was like,
like a PDF cover.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to read into this.
I thought it was 70%.
No, 90%.
Oh, okay.
We've delivered on 90% of our promises.
Where's the roads?
I was like, I'm going to leave this to Tanya to dissect.
No, I mean, I don't know about 90%, but I think whether we said it earlier in this episode or a previous one, there is no quantifiable, physical feeling of what UPND has done, and that's where they've gone wrong. You know, I said to you, I was in a taxi, and the guy said to me, at least my PF balikula
The bridges.
The
roads.
bridge, that useless bridge. What's that bridge by Lusaka Club? That Dale, what's that bridge? Anyway, that useless bridge.
Yes.
Valikula ma bridge. Valikula airports, stadiums. Those are quantifiable, right? I'm still waiting for these damn roads to be ready. The Lusaka and Dola road. What's taking so long? It's only this thick. I mean, what's taking you so long? You know?
If it was that thick.
Do you know, as we left to go to Mansa, I'm watching the roads being built. As we came back, a huge section had been taken up. So there was a whole pile of taken up. Yeah, taken up. This was after, remember, HH went to visit the roads. So I think they said, oh, HH is coming. Remove this bit of road. There was literally in the road, there's a big mound of tar that had been removed.
But even on Twitter, somebody says, gosh, guys, I have just used this road. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Some guy tweeted, and it was a thread which you just read tweet after tweet after tweet.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with this thing?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, what have you done that's quantifiable? Even your IMF deal, Jesus Christ, I mean, it's like blood out of a stone, that fucking deal. When are you going to sort that out? 3 years, 4 years, we're still waiting for that deal to be sorted.
Ish, it is. They're clever. Remember, this was a party of clever boys.
That's the point. The class clever has failed to deliver. This is what we're talking about. Leadership, power.
Yeah.
Now, intelligence, which is what we're talking about, should be under leadership. But where's it?
Advisors. You start looking at the whole bracket of leadership and the subsets. There's a lot of stuff that's not panning out to come out the way it was supposed to be. So if at some point you realize we're not doing well, I think the first thing a leader does is to address the people and say, I'm sorry. There are certain variables which did not work in our favor.
Apologizing.
I'm giving you a statement here. That's where you start. You're like, I'm sorry. We didn't expect this, but in our plan it was there.
I don't disagree with you. I loved, remember when he started quarterly reports? We were there every quarter, we were watching the reports. Yeah, look at some quarterly reports.
More like I'm a quarter penalty reports. But in addition to talking about the current state of affairs, the leadership fracture and, just governance in general, it's the institutions which have failed us under this same leadership. Right. And when I say institutions, I mean democratic institutions such as the Anti-Corruption Commission, Drug Enforcement, the Financial Intelligence Center, and the judiciary face political interference, undermining their independence and effectiveness.
Okay, give me
One day, this really shocked me. One day, the leadership decided to dissolve the Anti-Corruption Commission board. You remember?
I remember something which I didn't understand.
I also don't understand what happened. So what happened was, I think there was a whistleblower.
But it's not dissolved. It's still there, right?
No, the board all of it was chucked out.
The board was removed and replaced?
Yes.
So the board has been replaced.
So you go out of your way to choose people and say, these are the people who are going to deliver and correct things regarding corruption in the system, the corruption generally around, the institutions in the government and whatnot. You choose people, you swear them in. And they're like, yeah, I swear, Almighty God. Gosh.
Zambians are very good.
So one whistleblower says, this is what's going on.
Oh, Jesus, I swear.
Yeah. So, one whistleblower goes, this is what's going on. And before long, the Director General says, I'm resigning. We don't know the internal shenanigans, but the Director General decided, I'm now going to resign. A week or two later, they chucked the entire board out. So our position is democratic institutions such as this, all right, face political interference and undermining their independence and effectiveness.
Is it a democratic institution? Should it not be like an independent institution?
But one of the subsectors of democracy is independence.
Independent, not
Yeah,
independence.
independency on one other factor. Because why would I choose you as you are my guy? You are the one leading this. And as soon as Dale steps out, you're like, I'm checking everyone out.
No, and I can't speak to that because I don't know the details.
Okay. That is what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
So
how come he's not been held accountable or asked about that? Like, what are the details behind it? Why would you do that?
okay, so there was a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Who said this and that and that. This is what's going on and whatnot.
What is the this and that guy?
Look, whatever was going on in the ACC was not making sense.
So let's go back. Okay, based on what we do know, right? It feels like nobody got held accountable.
So if you speak to the
you have an anti-corruption commission and nobody's being held accountable for corruption. Now, either because the people who were being corrupt maybe weren't corrupt. Hey, you know.
No, they were corrupt.
Exactly.
The
Hashtag
board,
Kambwili.
So the board will look at situations, recommend an action plan.
Now, what would you say? They made a decision on something and the government said, no, we can't hold him accountable?
So when they make decisions,
because remember the interview you asked me about today?
Yeah.
The woman who interviewed HH and he's about PF Lungu.
Yeah.
And he said, he put me in jail 15 times.
Yes.
Was it 15?
Yeah.
Right? But I have done nothing in return.
No. Yeah.
So I'm trying to give an example of where, like, okay, so is that not, like, could it not be permissible as an instance of corruption? If someone was corrupt and you've allowed their corruption, is that not also a form of corruption?
It is. The reason you have a whistleblower is because they've seen something that's not working. So the whistleblower started, which led to the resignation of the previous DG. Now, word that came out was that, and I think Musa mentioned certain things, it's on record somewhere, that clearly we would come up with investigations, would investigate a certain thing and whatnot, but when we surrender them to execution, it would not be done. Remember, the board approves and recommends a course of action. So, okay, we've seen this problem that you brought to us. This is what you need to do. You guys execute, because we're overseers.
Now, let's go back to the ambassador of America. What happened? They did their investigation. They came to the Ministry of Health. We have found this. You need to do something. What did they say? Oh, yes. With his gray beard. We'll do something about it. Nothing got done.
Which is why the Americans outed them.
33 meetings.
There you go. How many meetings do you need?
So they were going to have a 34th
As long as I
meeting.
put my expenses in, it's okay.
I mean, the problem was deeper than that, of course. I mean, you have $8 billion invested in your country over 10 years, and the investor says to you, I'm not seeing where the money has gone.
But you're saying the same thing,
Yes.
Chanda.
No,
The
I'm not arguing with
ACC
you. Yeah.
said, this is what you should do. Nothing happened. The American embassy said, this is what we've found. Do something. What did they do? Nothing.
So I think that's probably what we're finding with the UPND. Lots of talk, zero action.
To conclude on this point,
Leadership?
current state of Zambia's leadership and governance. Citizens are increasingly disillusioned by leadership that prioritizes power struggles over national development and the good of governance. We have seen that in the opposition. We are seeing that in the current government. The humility of saying we have not done well here is not there. What they will come and do is 90% of what we promise has been achieved. Yeah.
But you have to review what was promised and what's happened subsequently. Just because you promised it, it doesn't mean other things that were more important didn't come up.
It's not changing. I agree with you.
Right?
So if you said, but Tanya, I promised I would do that thing, okay, but there's 6 other things that have come up as well. Does that one thing really count as the most important? And maybe you just said, I'll clean your windows, but maybe the other things were like,
I needed to.
I'll fix your brakes. You know, the big things.
It's not, I think it's easier said than done.
They found that to be the case. Surprisingly, okay, let's say this. Maybe power is easier to have and wield than leadership.
Exactly. I agree.
Because you can come in and say, arrest them with no consequences. But to say, change this with no consequences is much harder.
Change is harder than arrest. I agree 100%. Possible scenarios of what next for Zambia's leadership. We know very well that the UKA alliance, blabbering, ranting and raving. Tonse alliance, internal struggles. This one says this one does a statement.
But I have a thing against alliances. This is bullshit. You don't do an alliance before elections. You do alliances after the numbers are in. Then you know, okay, who do we want in our alliance? You don't take the dregs of the bottom of the shit heap and say this is who we're having alliances with. Come on now. Who are in the top 3? You take number 3 to have your alliance with.
I think both alliance parties, UKA and Tonse, have realized their shortcomings.
Aren't they the same people in those parties, in those alliances?
Look, they've got the same frailties. I think the two camps have realized the problems they have now. So they thought maybe if we all fight for the same spot.
What are the problems they have?
The problem is I can't go and stand against UPND alone with my small party.
Yes.
So maybe if I team up with this one and that one, we'll be stronger.
Hang on. Then you're not going to win. Guess what? That's it.
Yeah, so that's why they've... I'm not... Look.
No.
I'm not the one on trial here, man.
No, I'm arguing the point.
Yeah.
Which is, you're not going to win. Just because you're small, it doesn't entitle you to win. Yes. Work at it. If you started as a councillor, work to get to be a minister, work to be a president. You don't go all the way 0 to 100.
So for me to go from 0 to 100, I've decided to team up with you guys.
And I'm saying that that's a misnomer. You have different political beliefs. Otherwise, you should be one party.
No, that, as much as I 100% agree with it, the focus is to dislodge whoever's in power. And then we'll talk about...
To put in what?
And then we'll talk about Utuma titles.
To put in what?
Wrong.
These incompetence. These nobodies with no power. No level of understanding of how to actually lead.
Listen to this. Possible scenarios. Opposition parties unite behind, because you're pissed off right now. I don't want you to break your glass. Opposition parties unite behind credible, visionary. Credible, visionary leadership.
The blind that lead the clueless. Yeah?
Okay, listen. Yeah. So the opposition parties, that's one of the scenarios. They should rally behind a visionary leader and a clear policy platform presenting a strong alternative to the UPND. So if you dissect you've dissected UKA and you've dissected Tonse, you're not seeing anything, okay? But the thing is, continued opposition fragmentation will lead to UPND dominance by default. So those small parties are saying, let's organize and see if we can dislodge.
I get that, but what I'm trying to say, look, don't forget, the Conservatives have been in power in the UK hundreds of years plus, right? Because that is the political belief that the party, I'm not going to say the people, but primarily the party, has said that they believe in. The Conservatives, the Labour, the Lib Dems, and then you've started to get these like the Green Party. Now, Avene Tonse and UKA, my Green Party, Badia. You don't have enough substance for people to really want to vote for you. Doesn't give you a right to be in power. People don't want you. Just because you gang up against the main party doesn't mean people want you.
The Zambians.
Yes. They won't vote for you.
The Zambians are suffering.
So fundamentally, what everyone is missing, because they're all looking at power, we want power. We want to lead. We want to be president of this country. They're looking at power and not leadership. The people of Zambia are saying, who is going to put money in my pocket? Who is going to make sure that my income goes up a level? Who is going to make sure that I have housing, that I'm not working as a volunteer, as a doctor and a nurse and an engineer? Who is going to give me a job? All I want is to feed myself and my family, number one. Number two, I want to level up. I want to go from this level of income to this level of income. Yeah. That's all that people want.
Easy.
That's all. Now do that for the 20 million people of Zambia. Level everyone up. That's all they want. Not the 1%. And in Zambia, it's probably like a 0.2% of what we have of the rich people. Because most of them are foreigners. Let's not count the foreigners. Of actual Zambians, it's like a 2% who are really rich. And the government is saying, no, stay where you are because our party is going to become rich. We're going to siphon all the money as much as possible. Because me, I was in Uka, me, I was in Tonse. I never would have got anywhere unless I ganged up with these other people. Now I have access to money. It's just access to money.
Okay. I'm just thinking of how Elon said, Donald would not have won without me.
And what are these people offering? What are those to my parties? Which ones are they? Do you know them?
Oh, there are many.
But name some of them. Like, who are they in, like?
Citizens Forum.
And what do they stand for?
Citizens. So it
Why
says,
should I vote for them?
I don't know. They are different. You see, the problem is the points of arguments are that the people are suffering, not this is what we're doing.
Yes, this is what we will do for you. And I've given you a very simple manifesto. That's what every party should have. It's a very simple manifesto. For every person in Zambia, I will level you up one level. In South Africa, they say levels. There are levels, my people. There are levels. Level Zambians up one level.
Okay.
That is a good enough promise for people to be like, I'm a vote for you.
A new political actor could reshape the perceptions of the average Zambian and make a change in the political landscape. You do agree. You don't want the same recycled people.
I'm so sick of they were in UNIP, then they were in MMD, then they were in PF. I call them career politicians. You're not here for the people. You're here for your career, your income.
Of course. If I don't get into this, how will I live?
And I have worked with many of those who, to my face, no, I believe in the party. 1 week later, moved to another party.
Okay.
Hypocrites.
How can leadership show up for citizens?
My manifesto. I'm saying my manifesto like I'm running. Maybe I should do...
What do I need to do to run? Can I be the first female president of Zambia?
The girls aren't voting for you.
The baddies go vote for me. And all of you want the baddies. We can make a plan. We can make a plan.
My children, not me.
Sorry, what was your question?
I'm saying, how can leadership show up for the citizens?
The manifesto, I said, is very simple. What are you doing for the people? Chanda, in your IMF agreement, the point was that they were trying to claw back some of the money, so they weren't paying back as much money, so that money can be put back into the country.
Yeah.
And then what? What happens when it's put back into the country? It helps the people. That money could then employ those doctors, nurses, engineers who are not full-time because they're having to be volunteers. That money goes to pay for those people. That money gives us a road from this to this. Eh? Can we have a decent road? Eh? This is going to be my election symbol.
Do you know what I think? I think if a party loses power, they just all need to be arrested.
I mean, I'm not going to say
Do you know why? Because they took the Zambians for a ride.
I'm not going to say
Don't.
you know.
Hold up. Think about God, please.
This is the one who's inspiring me to say what I wanted to say.
So that's what I think. I think even these things of in future having performance-related arrangements with ministers have to be there, and you have to check every time. It sounds ridiculous sometimes, but the point is, You've been a minister for so long. What change have you
What
done?
have you done?
What change have you done?
This is my frustration with that woman that we talked about who went from Ministry of Health to Ministry of Lands. She should not have been moved from one ministry to another.
Yeah.
She should be removed.
Problem with leadership.
The Minister of Health currently, for him to say, if you want to volunteer, that's up to you. Like showing zero interest and care or empathy for the people that make sure his ministry has a level of respect.
We have a problem there. That's why I was asking, how do we level up? How do we show up for the citizens?
But that's what
How
I'm saying.
does the citizens...
Those people need to leave. You know, I had an interesting conversation with a while ago with somebody whose father was an ex-politician. And you know, in Zambia historically, like, oh, your family's in politics. And I said, so when are you getting into politics? He said, I'm not doing politics. I'm going to do business. I'll make more change to the country by doing a business that helps and supports the people.
100%.
And that's the problem that we have, because ministers, it's my access to money. That's all. They forget why they're there. They think that the reason I don't like this health minister is because he has no humility. You know, no understanding for the people who work in his health sector, which is basically supporting him. He has to help them so they can do a better job for the people. We want more Zambians to stay alive. But you want to treat them like they're so insignificant. You want to tell them, if you strike, then you're not going to get a job. How do you bully people into that kind of character? You should be helping and supporting.
I agree. There's a lot to discuss under leadership. It's just too much to cover for one episode. And also just the two of us. It's nice to bring in somebody who thinks from a different... cut from a different cloth, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah. But what I had was something we've talked about earlier. We talk about promote national unity and move beyond divisive politics. That has failed. You know that. Strengthen and respect.
But I think PF is very good at divisive politics.
Excellent.
That's all they do.
Well, they both are. Because they're in competition. The hate is very strong.
I think PF is very good at it. They're very good at divide and conquer.
They are better. Let's say they're better.
Yeah.
The point is, if you want to strengthen and respect the independence of democratic institutions when you're in leadership, they work in such a manner that when you come down to it, there should not be hate when parties have divergent opinions. This is what the leadership is fostering right now. If this one issues a statement, the other guy issues a counter statement. I don't need to hear that. I need you to take care of my pocket, my belly, my children. Okay, provide for me so that I provide for my family. That is what leadership is all about. They are failing to show up, and because of that, you are going to have to vote for another mediocre person who's going to come up. If not, because they are so fragmented, the current regime continues. Because they're a better organized lot than the other tiny parties.
Yeah, that goes back to my favorite word that you didn't want to use at the beginning. We have a leadership what? We have a leadership what in this country?
Madam Church.
We have a vacuum.
Yeah.
There is no standout leader in any of the parties. And people are either not interested in politics or, you're not a worthwhile leader. So what are we going to do as a country?
What next for Zambia's leadership?
Can we petition Traore to come and be president? Imagine the first president of two countries. Wouldn't that be awesome? That would be so cool.
We have one in North America who's trying to do that to many countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, this topic is just too large to exhaust in one sitting. Do you want to discuss what's next for Zambia's leadership? Do you want to discuss how leadership can show up again? Do you want to talk about how political leadership can redeem itself?
Can I say one frustration I have? We are very apathetic as a people. And apathy comes from not enough pressure. When there's war in your country, you develop a passion and a desire to fight. But because there's no war, right? I can still get by. Or my cousin or my uncle will pay for me. I'll move into my uncle's house and I can still eat. We're very apathetic. So we have no passion as a people. And I think that's the problem. That's where our lack of leadership is. Nobody has passion. Nobody wants to stand up. I get a lot of people, you should be quiet, you'll be arrested. That concept implies that everyone else thinks silence is better. Like we said about Simon. You know, Simon,
He's not going to sit.
but why should you be silent? In fact, stand up and say something.
A lot of people need to take a leaf from what Tambala is doing. Because he wakes up and he does things that feel right. And it's good for a lot of people. A lot of people where he works from the Simonson area have let him down. But he gets up every day. Every damn day, he gets his phone, his camera on. He goes and does a vlog. He goes on the streets. He laughs with a few people. Goes and releases his stress. And then he comes and tells us what's going on. He does that. When he got hammered, none of those people went to save him.
But Zambians will laugh at you.
They will do bandages.
They want to laugh at you. Not just that. I mean, okay, I don't mind the mocking. That's like comedy. But in the comments, you see, you deserve it. No. That's the problem with Zambians. Instead of saying, you did not deserve that at all. Those guys were wrong. They should never have done that. What you did was the right thing. Even though you got hurt, I'm sorry for you. I support you. Where were those comments?
So what he does for me is on the pathway of good leadership.
100%.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. How can citizens become wiser in selecting leadership, good leadership?
You know, like I said earlier, I think Zambians are like bullied housewives, right? But he loves me. But what he does is what he does. We just accept it. And this is men I'm referencing more than women.
Kind of women, you don't vote for each other.
No, that's another point.
Okay.
That's a whole nother point.
Taking the piece.
But the point I'm trying to make is that let go of the apathy.
Yeah.
Decide what you need for your country. Decide what you want for yourself. Like I said, I want my next president to level me up. For example, me, diasporan, I want my president to make sure I can come back in this country and I can get a decent job. There's a lot of diasporans who want to come back.
Yeah.
Right? As a local, I'm a student. I want to get a job the minute I finish university, not to volunteer for 4 years. I want a job. Give me a damn job. And if I'm sent to the village, make sure that school in the village is worth going to. Why should I go to a shack? Give me electricity, lights, painted walls, and a freaking computer in the school I go to. I'm about to teach education. You want me to compete against AI and there's no computer in my classroom? Come on now, Education Minister. Allah. Now follow on another topic now. I need to be quiet. Go.
No, we are about to wrap up because we won't finish talking. That's why. I think we have 4 minutes. I don't know how many minutes we have, Dale.
Dale's like, you way over time.
Okay. Zambia stands at a dangerous political precipice. How was you?
I should press peace.
Hey, precipice.
Precipice.
The death of former President Edgar Lungu has not only created an unprecedented leadership vacuum in the opposition, but has also exposed the alarming fragility of our entire political system. There's been embarrassing pronouncements, actions, and also just the proceedings around this particular death, and we should learn a lot from this. Whether in government or not, is sometimes we need to now look at ourselves and say, look, we can't go on like this. Let's do better for the people who put us in power, and also let's hold the leadership into account. If the citizen come to you and demand something, do not harass them, please. That's not why they voted you into power. They simply want to know why something has not happened. I do not know if you want to add some more.
I think I'm just very similar to what you said. I think one of the problems, Zambians also, the people need to change their mentality.
Yeah.
Stop looking for salacious information. You know, in as much as whatever Zambians want to say, oh, our president and be solemn and we have a respect for the dead and all that nonsense, the reality is they love this salacious bullshit. They have enjoyed that the Lungu family said, we don't want the government involved. We're not going to bury him in Zambia. All of this stuff gives us drama. Zambians love drama.
Yeah.
You know what? We should turn away and say, go as a family, do what you need to do. As a people, we're now going to move on.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want us involved. What they've said, if you're dismissing the state, you're dismissing the people.
There you go. I agree with you. But sadly, on that note, and as you sip your Bernini, blush, we should say peace.
To the next leader.
Wishing the country a new and loving leadership.
Strong leadership.
Strong leadership.
We need strong leadership. Listen, I don't care. HH, find your strength. I don't care who you are, but you have to be better. You have to be better for the people.
Peace.
Out.